Hosted by u/strict_trouble7006. I, 25F, and my best friend Emma, 26F, have been friends since elementary school, and I honestly thought of her as a sister. We tell each other everything, went to the same college, and even though we have two different jobs, we work in the same area. Emma was my rock for years as I battled self-hate and depression due to growing up in a small conservative town, not only as a person of color but also as a closeted lesbian. Emma did not know I was a lesbian, she just knew that I was unhappy. I never stayed long in relationships, isolated myself, and later developed anorexia. About 2 years ago, Emma contracted herpes from a guy she slept with, and it has been very hard for her to find a boyfriend since then, which has made her feel very lonely. She hasn't told her family or friends about it because she doesn't want to be seen as gross. Because of this, I haven't really put myself out in the dating field and have put off coming out. However, about 6 months ago, I met this girl at a craft store. She had long curly hair, dressed in all black with big eyeliner and ruby lipstick. I couldn't stop staring at her, and I admit when she smiled at me, I kind of followed her around the store. I know, creepy. I eventually worked up the courage to ask her for her number, and she gave it to me. I was so excited that I started texting her that night, and since then, we have been hanging out a lot, and I think she likes me back. I was going to ask her out, but since I live with Emma, I decided I should come out first, as I would be bringing her around if the girl says yes. So after work, I sat Emma down and told her I was a lesbian. I explained that all the anguish I went through growing up was due to my self-hate. I told her how I wished I could have told her earlier but never found the right time. Now that I'm in love with someone, I felt like I should tell her, as she is the one person I trust with this information. She just stared at me, shocked, for a few seconds, and then her expression changed from shock to disgust. She jumped back and accused me of being a creep, saying I was gross for being around her so much while knowing I was gay. She even mentioned how she had changed clothes around me and said I was no better than some creepy man. I tried to explain that I had no romantic feelings for her and that I honestly had a crush on someone else, but she wouldn't believe me and locked herself in her room. Later, my phone started ringing off the hook, and to my surprise, I received tons of messages from my family and our friend group. Some were calling me hateful slurs, while others were asking if it was true that I liked Emma. My mother even called to scream at me several times, and apparently, I'd been disowned. I started banging on Emma's door, demanding to know why she outed me to everyone. She just started calling me a creep again. So I thought, oh, okay, fine, you want to play like that? I had a picture of her diagnosis and sent it to her parents and our friend group. According to the only friend who didn't turn against me, people are now talking more about Emma than me because she still shares things despite having herpes. Now, they're grossed out and accusing her of trying to infect them with her diseases, along with some SLT shaming. I'm currently looking for a new apartment, and I still plan to ask the girl out this week, but Emma's parents told me that I ruined her reputation and labeled their daughter as a dirty WH-re. I feel bad, but I felt like she deserved it. However, I know that a disease and sexuality are two different things, so I'm wondering if I was really wrong to do that. Commenter. You don't come across as a nice person. You were interested in women, yet you allowed your friend to undress around you. It is no surprise that she now thinks of you as a creep who used her. I doubt many would believe you if you say that you had no interest in seeing her like that. Also, you mentioned that you were never in long relationships. Does that mean you deliberately got into relationships with guys to deceive people and keep up appearances? Ops response. I didn't see her romantically, and I was in the closet. There was literally no reason for me to be weird about it. I stated that she was essentially like a sister to me, and I'd never think of her that way. Just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm attracted to every woman. Lesbians still use locker rooms with straight women, and nothing happens. What you're saying doesn't make sense. Also, I didn't deliberately get into relationships. My parents were harassing me about not dating boys, so when a boy asked me out, I just said yes, but I broke up with them because I didn't like leading them on. It wasn't about keeping up appearances, it was about safety. You can't even imagine the things that were said to me, the threats I received. You have no idea what it's like to be forced into a role and feel like there's no way out. I only came out to her because I finally felt safe. Instead, she put me in an unsafe situation and exposed all my business, adding lies on top of it. I even told her I was in love with another woman. What made her think I was into her? Nothing, she just made it up. First update 1 day later. So, Emma is now staying with a relative in our area until our lease ends. But aside from that, this morning, Emma's parents showed up at my door. They flew out here because Emma is refusing to step back into our apartment. I let them come inside because I wasn't about to hold Emma's stuff hostage, but I did something stupid. They didn't really want to speak to me, which was fine, so I decided to just wait in my room until they left. Emma and I had an emergency fund with about $5,000 in it, and I contributed roughly $2,700. They took the entire amount. Once I noticed, I called them to ask for my money back because not all of it belonged to Emma, but they told me that since I earned more than Emma, this was compensation for ruining her reputation. I responded by asking if it was okay that she tried to screw me over first. Their response was, "Emma did not choose this disease, you chose yours." I didn't even respond to that, I just hung up. Honestly, I don't even care. They didn't take anything else other than the money, and I genuinely don't want to see them anymore. Emma has also been cut off from her siblings because they have kids, and she was kissing the babies without letting the parents know about her diagnosis. She also wasn't taking proper precautions during active outbreaks, so now none of her siblings want her around because they feel betrayed. On a lighter note, Ruby and I are officially dating. A commenter kept referring to her as Ruby, and honestly, I think that name suits her perfectly. We went out to a fancy Thai spot, watched a movie, and then I took her to the water at the edge of the city. I had a playlist set up, and even though I tried to tone it down, I couldn't, I was too excited. I told her how beautiful I thought she was, how much I enjoyed spending time with her, and asked if she'd be okay with me taking her out on a date sometime. I had a whole speech prepared, but one of the comments advised me to keep it simple so I wouldn't scare her. She laughed at me and said, "This was the first date." So that was a yes. I dropped her off at her house, and she gave me a kiss before she left, and I'm so happy. I've never kissed a girl before. So yeah, I honestly don't care about the money anymore, I just want them out so I can start my new life. Anyway, that's all, thanks a lot for the advice and support. Edit. I'm getting messages about not taking action and how $2,700 is a lot of money. The reality is, I was just receiving unalive threats from these people, they still know where I live, and they still hate me. This fact didn't disappear just because I exposed my friend's diagnosis. I'm keeping a low profile and letting the attention shift away from me. I have my own savings, a good job, and I'm planning to move and change my number soon. I honestly would rather be left alone than make a whole legal case out of something I don't want to be involved in. She's already spent most of the money trying to buy back the love she had from our family and friends before this happened, so taking her to court would just give her a chance to make me look bad and create more stress for me. Plus, she's already received plenty of karma. I'm sure she'll blow through her own money too because she's terrible with finances. I'm really just trying to ignore all of this now and get on with my life, which is why I'm not pursuing legal action.